Did you know that everything we call history, every king, every empire, every war, every discovery, it all began with a single invention? Before this moment, humanity lived in a kind of silence, a past that wasn't written down, but only remembered. And memory, as we all know, fades. Before there were cities, before there were farms, before there was anything we'd recognize as civilization, there was language. Early humans didn't just grunt at each other. They communicated with a complex system of sounds, gestures, and eventually, spoken words. This wasn't an invention. It was an evolution. Over tens of thousands of years, our ancestors developed the ability to share complex ideas, to coordinate hunts, to pass down survival skills from one generation to the next. Language was the invisible thread that held these early societies together. But spoken words have a fatal flaw. They disappear the moment they're said. For a small tribe, this wasn't a problem. But as human societies grew larger and more complex, memory was no longer enough. Imagine trying to run a city on memory alone. How do you keep track of who paid their taxes? How much grain is in the storehouse? Who owns which piece of land? The leaders of these emerging civilizations faced a crisis. They needed something permanent, something that couldn't be forgotten or misremembered. They needed a way to record information. And so, in the Fertile Crescent, in a land called Mesopotamia, the solution was born. Around 3400 BC, the Sumerians, a truly innovative people, invented one of the first systems of writing, cuneiform. But it wasn't invented to write epic poems or love stories. It was invented for accounting. The first written words weren't "I love you," they were 5 sheep, 10 bushels of barley. It started with simple pictures, or pictographs, pressed into wet clay tablets. A picture of a head of grain meant grain. A picture of an ox meant an ox. It was a ledger, a way for the temple priests and administrators to keep track of the city's wealth. Writing was born from the most practical need of all, bureaucracy. But once the door was opened, humanity rushed through it. These simple pictographs started to evolve. They began to represent not just objects, but sounds. A symbol that once meant water could now be used to represent the wa sound in any word. This was a revolution. Suddenly, writing could capture the nuances of spoken language. It could express abstract ideas, complex laws, heartfelt prayers, and the foundational myths of a culture. For the first time, language could be frozen in time, perfectly preserved for future generations to read. A thought could now outlive the thinker. However, this incredible new power wasn't for everyone. In these ancient societies, writing was a specialized skill, a secret guarded by a select few. Scribes, usually trained from a young age, and high-ranking priests were the only ones who could read and write. This made knowledge a form of power. Those who could write controlled the records, interpreted the laws, and communicated with the gods. For thousands of years, the vast majority of people remained illiterate, dependent on the scribal class to interact with the written word. This is the moment that truly divides our past. With the invention of writing, prehistory ends and history begins. For the first time, humans could speak directly across centuries. The decrees of kings, the names of gods, and the stories of great events were no longer subject to the whims of memory. They were etched in stone and clay, becoming permanent fixtures of human consciousness. The past stopped disappearing. Writing didn't just record history, it created it. It shaped our laws, our religions, and our very identities. It allowed for the construction of vast empires, centrally controlled through written commands and records. The world we live in today, a world built on information, was made possible by those first accountants in ancient Sumer, pressing symbols into clay. The moment humans learned to write, the past stopped disappearing. Thanks for watching. If you found this interesting, consider subscribing for more stories about how our world came to be.